Greetings, family. Today I will talk about manifesting. Manifesting is to call something forth or to materialize something that you desire or something that you think about. Um, for me, manifesting has been a lifestyle, and it has come pretty easy for me. In fact, I remember when I was in my early 20s, my former mother in law would say to me, "It seems like God just gives you whatever you desire." Um, and the manner in which she said it sounded as if she was wondering why God would grant all of these things or, desires that this little 21-year-old would have. And she said it almost a little like curious and maybe a little frustrated. And that caused me to pause and think about, why is it that I'm able to materialize things that I put in my heart and in my mind? Because before I had never even thought about it. I just put something in my mind and it would materialize, or I would go after it full force, knowing that it would be achieved. I think that goes back to my upbringing as a child when I was much, much younger. A lot of the children in my neighborhood would be outside playing, which I think is okay, it's great. And of course, we would play sometimes, or they'd be watching television, whereas my mother would cut out articles in newspapers, magazines, and books, encyclopedias, and she would have us to read them. Mind you, I think the youngest I remember reading was probably about 4 or 5. I'm sure she had us reading before that, but my mom had me at 15, and I still can't figure out for the life of me how she had the presence of mind to create children who thought on such a high level that whatever we think about becomes our reality. So what she would do, I mean, she had different ways of doing things, and sometimes she was like really, really strict, and other people didn't understand her methods. But as I became older, I got it. So with these articles that were very encouraging or very positive or uplifting, she would cut them out and place them on the refrigerator from the time I was a small child in elementary, and she would have us to read them. Once we read those articles, she would have us to write what I would call today a reaction piece. So what you were told to do was to review the article and then write how you felt about the article. And that's interesting because my mom dropped out of high school. I think she was in 9th or 10th grade, and eventually went on to get her GED when I was in high school myself. So I believe, well, I know that she was chosen to be my mother, or I chose her to be my mother for that express purpose of teaching me things that other parents may not have known to teach their children. So my brother and I was 9 months older than my brother, would read these articles, write a reactionary piece to them. And the articles, our writing had to be very neat. We weren't allowed to have eraser marks, scratching out, or any of that. If you did that, you made a mistake, then you had to tear it up and do it all over again until it was perfect or nearly perfect. Then my mom would read the reaction piece and give her input, and if it was not pleasing to her, she would tear it up and say, do it over. If it was pleasing to her, then she would give you another task to do. So one would have thought my mom grew up in the military because she was very strict, very disciplined. I grew up eating well, reading, and only watching certain television shows that she felt were in alignment with her beliefs or her principles. So for many, many years, we grew up without a television. And if she did have a television, she would only allow us to watch, I think it was called public broadcasting or programming that was educational. So Electric Company, Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, maybe just certain programs that will allow us to think from an educational perspective. And that was the only channel she had on her television, if she had television. And then I remember certain times she would get frustrated and just cut the cord. Or maybe that happened once or twice, but she was like, this is just not a good idea at all. Because my mother felt that television programmed the brain. Now, I think that's very important in terms of being an adult and manifesting, because when you know that there is something that you should bring into your reality or must or desire to bring into your reality, your whole mindset needs to be the manifestation. So people talk about doing manifestation. I want to talk about being manifestation, right? So mom would have us to read all of these articles, and she would have us to read books like encyclopedias, dictionaries, and any thesaurus. And when we would read the encyclopedia, we had to do a report. So maybe I was on the A for that month. The back then you had an A all the way through Z. Each book represented an alphabet. And so you would read the entire encyclopedia about the A's, and they would talk about, I don't know, I can't remember, maybe animals, Africa, America, the Antarctic, and the A's. And then the B's might be about Brazil, different animals that start with B, et cetera, et cetera. And I remember having encyclopedias from the time I was a small child all the way up to I was in high school. So you had children encyclopedias all the way up through young adult encyclopedias. In fact, to adult encyclopedias and dictionaries and thesaurus and books that talk about antonyms and synonyms. So we grew up reading in our household, and alongside that, my mom would do flashcards. So we would learn subtraction, addition, multiplication, division, flashcards. My mom would flash them really, really quickly. We had to think really, really quickly on our toes. And she would say 5 plus 7, you had to know 35. 8 times 5, you had to know that was 40. I mean, she would just go. First, she would do them in order. Then she would do them in a random order. And because my brother and I were 9 months apart, we would challenge each other. And this was our fun. So I don't remember growing up with toys, except for when I would go to grandma's house. So there was a balance in my life. There was total education at mom's house, and we grew up Muslim, so total discipline at mom's house. And then there was discipline at grandma's house, but also fun and family, where we had a grandma and a grandpa, where our aunts and uncles were married or either cohabiting, and we never even knew that they weren't legally married. They were married in our eyes, and cookouts and all that stuff. But so I had a balance. Back to mom's house, education was fun. And even if it wasn't fun, that was our entertainment. So we grew up reading, we grew up writing, and we grew up being criticized or critiqued for our writing, the manner in which we wrote, and the subject matter, and our reactionary thoughts. And mom would make her comments on it, then we would have to rewrite them until it was perfect, or to her, it met her expectations. Also, mom taught us to think on a high level. So there were certain words that we were allowed to use. You were allowed to use words like can, I can do that, I will do that, I am doing that. And then there were words that were not in our vocabulary. So there were words like can't, and I even today I do my best to say positive words. So you were not allowed in my mother's house to say I can't. You might have gotten a whipping or severe punishment for saying I can't, because my mom would always say you can. There is no such thing as can't. Can't is not a part of our vocabulary. You can and you will. So we had a mindset of I will. And I remember growing up and mom saying, people have a desire to be a nursing assistant. And that was okay if that's what you were groomed to be. Mom would say, why be the nursing assistant when you can be the doctor? Why work at the store when you can own the store? And so she just taught us how to think from a positive perspective so that that was our only reality. You see, and when you have a positive mindset, your reality is such that you think about positive things and you know that these things are not only viable and reachable, but will be accomplished. And that is the mindset that I'm going to encourage you to have. It's what mom put in us. So you already had the mindset of I can, I will, I must. Can't, won't, all that was not permissible in our house. And then in conjunction with that, mom had a very good diet, at least for a great majority of our lives. The part that I recall was we were Muslims for a great part of my childhood. We were a part of the Nation of Islam. And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, for all he may have done that, may have been in alignment with things that are, what's the word I'm trying to look for? I'm trying to look for positive first. For the things that may not have been applaudable. So, I heard that there were some things that he did that was not advisable. However, the man taught us discipline. We had the men on one side of the temple and the women on the other side of the temple. So I grew up watching males on this side of the temple or on a whole nother side of the temple, learning how to be a man, learning how to provide, learning how to be disciplined, learning how to dress well, to smell well, to be clean, to be sharp. They wore suits, they had bow ties, they had low cut hair, they sold newspapers, they sold fish, they had their own businesses, they sold bean pies. Even those that went to work, they went to work clean and neat with belts and ties and suits and, just fresh. And I grew up watching the women with our head covered. So what that taught me was, for some people may have processed that as being ashamed of your hair, but I actually processed that as covering up my glory and protecting something that was very precious to me. I processed it as the women being uniform because we all dressed a certain way. We dressed modestly, and we had our head covered, so we all looked alike, except for sometimes the women wear it in order to stand out. The women, not us, we were children, but they would wear maybe little earrings or have their eyebrows arched, or your mom would have a little baby hair sticking out of the head covering. So that was the way she stood out, or that was like her little thing. Mom had the baby hairs, and the cute little earrings and the beautiful eyebrows. Mom also always had very clean, neat toenails and fingernails. She was just meticulous. The house was clean. The mosque or the masjid was clean. When we entered the temple, we took our shoes off and we lined them up neatly against the door. When you came in mom's house, you took your shoes off and you lined them neatly against the door. So everything was clean and meticulous in the temple. At our school, we went to a Muslim school at our church. And mind you, my mother was a single mother, and she had, when I was growing up, when I was small, for a while, she had just the two of us. And then when I turned 6, she had my sister, who was in this group. So there were 3 of us. And then when she was in her early 30s, I think, maybe late 20s, she had the twins. So she eventually had 5 children. But anyway, growing up in the mosque, you had a mindset that you were meticulous. And what that did for your mind was you expected the best. You lived a clean lifestyle. You not only thought well and your environment was clean, but you ate well. So I believe it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad who created the book Eat to Live. If he didn't, it might have been Dick Gregory, because Dick Gregory also had a book about, excuse me, this little bud, about eating clean. And so, there you go. Trying to keep these ends tucked so I can spare it. My hair is growing long. It's like almost down, all the way down my bra strap now. But eating clean, I remember periods. First, I remember, I don't even know if mom ate meat. She may have eaten, I remember eating fish, because the Muslim did sell fish, fried fish. Whiting was the fish that we would sell, or that was sold in the masjid, or the men would sell. Fried fish, bean pies, bean soup, that type of thing. But the earliest I can recall is maybe fish being in mom would eat sometime. But I grew up vegetarian and then vegan. And I don't know if mom remembers this, because she's been, on earth for a while, but of course she does. But my perception or recollection was that most of my childhood with my mom was being vegan or vegetarian. At the very least, no meat, no pork. So we didn't eat any pig, we didn't eat any unclean fish. And unclean fish means fish that didn't have fins and scales. So our fish had to have fins and scales. The meat that you ate had to chew the cud and have a cloven hoof. And that you can also find that in the scriptures, in the biblical scriptures, in Leviticus 11, Deuteronomy 14. But in the mosque, it was the same. In the Nation of Islam, it was the same diet. So at the very least, you didn't eat unclean meat. Then I remember graduating from eating clean meat, chewing the cud and cloven foot like beef, ox, that kind of thing, to eating fish, the only meat, and always fruits and vegetables, and then to vegetarianism, then to veganism. I remember no sugar, no butter, because sugar was unhealthy, not that it was an animal product. No sugar, no butter, little to no salt, no milk. And what that did for me was it taught me to be disciplined. It taught me to have a clean diet, a clean body, a clean mind. And all those things work together. Scripture says all things work together for the good of those who love the Creator and to the called according to his purpose. All those things that work together to make me an individual that had a certain mindset and a certain reality that I took into my adulthood. So what happened was I became what my mom envisioned a human being should be. At the same time, the only images I saw in my mind, at least from my limited experience on television, was educational. My mother only allowed us to watch any type of movie that was positive. In fact, I really only remember seeing a very few karate movies with my Uncle Tim when he had us. I remember seeing little snips and pieces of Car Wash, which was a movie, because back in those days you can go to the drive-through, and my mom would go to the drive-through, and even then we would sit in the back and we had to entertain ourselves by reading books or talking to each other. And there were periods where we could watch the movie, but I don't know if intuitively she knew what was about to happen, or maybe they signaled what was about to happen in the movie. But any kissing scenes, sex scenes, or any scenes that alluded to that, we would have to put our head down. So I grew up not watching sex, violence. I only grew up watching healthy things, healthy, and listening to healthy music. So in my mom's house, I don't even remember hearing music. Yes, I do. Diana Ross. And that's probably why she's my favorite artist today. I remember hearing Diana Ross. I remember Captain and Tennille. What did the Captain and Tennille used to sing? I can't remember. No, I can't remember. That's a word I'm not allowed to. I only use positive words. I must remember Captain and Tennille's song. I will get back to you when I remember it. How about that? So that's another thing. I have trained myself that when I catch myself saying words which my mother taught me were words that were for people with limited vocabularies, then I retrain myself to use those words that are for people who have healthy vocabularies. So she allowed us to listen to Captain and Tennille. I think I remember a few songs with Sonny and Cher. And then there was the woman, who's the woman with Diane? No. The woman with the big nose, but she was Jewish, Barbara Streisand. I remember some of her songs. And that's about it when I lived in my mama's house. Now, when I lived in my grandma's house, who was a very strict Christian, but she still let us, live a little. I do remember my uncles listening to Earth, Wind, and Fire, Sister Sledge, the Floaters, the Commodores. It was still, even then, it was positive music, you see. And even when I went to live with my father's mom, with my dear, or dear, we say it for short, things were positive. It was positive music. She had us listening to gospel music because she was in the church. And the diet that mom had us on, my grandmother made sure that we ate the same thing. And even if grandma would be like, oh, I cooked this in pork, you would be all right. My mom's programming caused me to not eat it. I would say, Grandma, I need to eat the food that's cooked with meat only. I mean, with clean meat or no meat at all. So let me bring this together. My diet, what I put in my mouth, what I allowed my eyes to see based on my mom's teaching, what my ears heard, what was on my skin, because my mom used natural products for a great portion of our lives, or she was very careful about what we put on our bodies. My environment, all that is my diet was clean and healthy and positive from the time I was a child. Now, of course, there were things that happened where, that children experience, people touching you, or, parents having issues, or things like that happening in family. But even then, my mother somehow had the presence of mind to keep us in a pretty sheltered environment. So, for example, when we lived in the projects, everybody else was outside playing, running roughshod, doing whatever they want to do, just hanging all out in a place. We were inside reading, studying math facts, writing essays, reading articles, and writing out for my mom what our future was going to be like. From the earliest I remember doing this was 4 or 5. So I made straight A's most of my life in school until I went to high school, and I had a culture shock because growing up as a young child, I grew up in communities where people looked like me. And then when we moved to Southern Ohio, or Portsmouth, Ohio, from Cleveland, I grew up around people that didn't look like me and didn't share my same experiences. And it took me some time to catch on. So then my grades started to slip a little bit, but my mom was very demanding about staying on top of your game, because she would say other people can get C's and C minus. You must get an A and an A plus in order to succeed in this world, because this is the world in which we live. So that was a little challenging period for me. See how I'm being careful with my words. I'm not saying, oh, it was difficult, it was hard. I'm saying it was challenging. It presented opportunities for me to learn creatively. It presented opportunities for me to figure out other ways in which I can learn. It created opportunities for me to align myself with women in the neighborhood who looked like me, or young girls or young ladies who looked like me, who also had the desire to go to college. So just growing up with a diet of positivity and healthy living was one in which my subconscious said to me that you are the epitome of whatever you desire. You are successful. You are beautiful. You are amazing. You are lovely. You are sensual. You are whatever it is you imagine yourself to be. And I have to credit my mom for that, because when you read healthy books, that is your experience. You live vicariously through the words. And it's interesting because even my mom would have us reading biographies, but the positive ones, and I don't know if she would go through them first or she just had an intuition, because again, mom dropped out of high school in the ninth or 10th grade when she got pregnant with me. I think she was in the 10th grade. So I'm like, how does she have the presence of mind to do this? But even when I would read biographies about people who explored the world and had magnificent lives or rich experiences, I dived into that, and I live vicariously through the words. That's why I love words. Words are so beautiful, and they cast spells, which is a good thing, because when you learn positive words and that becomes your diet and your experiences are positive, then you cast spells upon yourself and into your life based on the positive words that you use. Be the manifestation. So the tools that we use, like drawing sigils and water manifestation and vision boards, those are tools. And that's awesome. At the same time, when you are already positive and your subconscious mind already knows what you will do, not what you can do, not what you should do, not what you hope to do, but what you will do, then you walk around manifesting every day of your life. Look around you, where you are, who you're around, what you're doing, what is evident in your life to a great extent is an indication of how you think, of the programming that's in your subconscious mind, and of what you believe or feel or know to be real. So this is almost 30 minutes, but I am communicating to you that we have tools to help us manifest. It's just that those tools are to help your subconscious mind become in alignment with what you know will happen for your life. So they say that we have a creator and we are co-creators with that creator. So the creator already has for you, if whether you're a Christian or a Buddhist or Muslim, the creator has wonderful things determined for you, because the creator created you in his or her or its image. Even if you believe in Ninmah and an Anunnaki story, Ninmah was a female Anunnaki. She and her brothers Enki and Enlil came from, what's the word? Where did they come from? You guys know where it is. Nibiru, and supposedly came to Earth and created humans, or this species, this type of human, in order to mine gold for them, so that because the gold would heal their atmosphere. They had issues, and they say even now gold heals the atmosphere. It heals your mind, your body, your spirit. You can eat it, you can drink it, and they say that's the real reason people try to take gold for people from areas of the universe that had gold. But anyway, Ninmah, who was female, or maybe even hermaphrodite, I don't know. They say she was female though, and her two brothers, her cohorts, came and created men and women in their image. If you believe in that story, or you believe in the creation story in the Bible. When you are created in the image of a creator or a magnificent being, a divine being, that means that the same characteristics that the creator has is embedded within you. And that creator, the creation story in the Bible says you have dominion. Now, some people would say that means you have power to dominate. What I submit to you is that having dominion also means that you have the same creative abilities as the being from which you came. So all I'm saying to you is you have the ability to create a loving environment. You have the ability to create a reality that's joyful, a reality that's abundant, a reality that's full of love and full of peace. It's just that it needs to start in your mind, not just from doing something, but from knowing, coming from a place of knowing you will and leaving it there. Because if you come from a place of anxiety, that means you're worried about the future. If you come from a place of anger and angst and depression, you may be coming from or dwelling in the past. Oh, this happened to me. Oh, so I can't do this. Oh, my people were enslaved hundreds of years ago. So you were told, and maybe your ancestors were, maybe your ancestors weren't. And you're coming from that place in the past. Oh, we just can't do this. Oh, last week there was a murder. So this is hard. This is why I can't manifest. That is a place that is unhealthy. But a healthy perspective is living in the now, knowing that you have the ability to do whatever your heart can ever imagine. It's knowing that you will, because you are God. You are a part of God. You were created in God's image or Creator's image. And even the biblical scripture says, ye are gods. And some people get offended by that, whereas others who respond from a positive place say, let's see how that works in my benefit. You are God. I will create whatever it is I desire by simply thinking about it, by simply being it, right? So we talked about having a diet of healthiness, love and peace and joy and eating clean and being clean, having a clean environment. And it also comes from an abundance mindset. When you have an abundance mindset or abundance mentality, you know that there is more than enough. There's more than enough resources. There's more than enough gold on this planet. There's more than enough oil. There's more than enough food. There's more than enough fresh air. There's more than enough, plenty of clean water. There's plenty of joy. There's plenty of happiness. There are plenty of men. So come from a place of abundance, knowing that there's a whole lot. Now, the beings that have controlled the planet for millennia have conditioned us to think that there is lack. It's not enough. It's so much violence. It's so much murder. It's hatred. It's violent. It's this on TV. It's that on TV. The movies is like this. Oh, you're a slave. You're a slave. You're a slave. Slavery movies, back and forth, back and forth. They even got you thinking that you need to watch slave movies so you can remember what happened in the past. Well, what I would submit to you is that what would bring the ancestors joy is that you might acknowledge that it happened, but move forward and create something magnificent and beautiful, because the earth is abundant. And that's why when people say to me, oh, life is so short, I remember my mom just conditioned me to think of the positive. And I say, you know what? Life is too amazing. It's so abundant and so amazing. It's too amazing for me to sit down. It's too amazing for me to do this, that, and the other. It's so amazing that I'm going to go out and enjoy the sunshine. It's so amazing that I'm going to take good care of my health. Instead of saying life is too short to do this, that, and the third, I look at the positive. So what I'm presenting to you is come from an abundance mindset, whereas others may come from a lack mentality or poverty mindset or scarcity mindset. This is why when you're in school or you watch TV or whatever, they'll say, oh, the resources on the planet are shrinking. What they were doing was setting you up for their agenda to commit genocide. Oh, we don't have enough resources on this earth. The scripture says, it's been a while since I read the Bible. Something about, oh God, it left my mind. It talks about the world being abundant, and that the Creator comes from a place of abundance, and that the Creator's desire for you is to live a joyful and abundant life. There's a scripture that I know that says, whatsoever things are righteous, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things is of a good report, whatsoever things are good, think on those things. That's a positive way of saying, don't focus on negativity. Don't do this. Don't do that. Because when you say don't, the mind hears do. So you say, don't think about being angry. What the subconscious, they say, hears is be angry. So instead you say, think about happiness. Focus on joy. Focus on the things in your life that are going extremely well. That's your diet. That's why people use the tool of saying affirmations so that it can go into your subconscious mind to help program you to think positively. My encouragement to you is turn off the television, turn off the music, the unhealthy music, turn off people in your life who are in alignment with those things that are only conducive for negativity. Turn off unhealthy diet, and those things. I know I'm saying turn off. I don't like. I try to say positive things, and replace them with healthy. Turn on healthy food. Put in just lots of water, fresh raw vegetables and fruits. If you must eat meat, make sure that the meat that you're eating was not traumatized or was only healthy. Be careful. Be mindful of what you put on your skin. Be mindful of the music. Be mindful of what you put before your eyes, right? Because what's in your eyes, ears, nose, mouth, sexual genitalia, all those things are portals into the soul, into the spirit, and the subconscious mind, into the heart chakra. Now, I haven't studied alchemy yet, I'm going to study alchemy in the very near future. For right now, I'm giving you the version that my mom taught me. So I am operating from an abundance mindset. So to go back to what my mother-in-law said, where she said, it seems like God gives you whatever you want. What it is was that my mother prepared me to have a positive and abundance mentality and mindset, so that those are the things that are in my mind and in my heart and my soul and my spirit and my nose and my eyes and my ears and my mouth and my digestive tract. Positivity. And when that becomes your diet, you become the manifestation. So you see, whereas some people take time out to meditate, and I think that's magnificent and beautiful, and to pray, I incorporate that into my lifestyle so that I am prayer. I am meditation. I am soothing music. I am love. I am joy. I am peace. I am healthy. I am righteous. I am loving. I am sensual. I am juicy. I am delicious. I am vibrant. I am life. I am wonderful. I am abundant. And I manifest all of my desires. I use tools from time to time. More than that, I have become walking manifestation. I remember being in my 20s. I told my then pastor, I had just finished my master's degree. I'm not going to work. And my then pastor said to me, you have to work. Everybody has to work. How else are you going to take care of these 4 children? How else are you going to live? And I said, I will live and I'm not going to work. He said, but you have student loan debt and a lot of it. I said, it's going to happen. And I'm telling you, I really knew it was going to happen. I knew it. I came from a place of knowing, because my mother taught me that you can and you will. So whatever you say, whatever you think becomes your reality. It is your reality. So as I was saying it, it was my reality. It was my reality. I don't care what the paper now. Somebody's credit report might have said I had student loan debt. Somebody's school was saying I was still enrolled in college. Somebody's bankroll was saying that I was working part-time. I said no. To that, yes, to being debt free. I had no idea that the way in which that was going to manifest was that I would come across a situation or encounter a situation where I was able to get rid of, or I don't know what the proper term for it is leaving me right now, but I was able to totally discharge $205,000 of student loan debt. And what happened was I was able to manifest a check, certain amounts of money that's enough for me to live in a 2-bedroom house in California. And the money just comes to me. Anything I do for people, I do for free. People have given me, like, I think one person gave me a ticket to a concert or dinners, or, tokens of their appreciation for what I've done for them. I do life coaching. I've done credit repair, which I do on a case-by-case basis now. It's just I've never charged them, and the universe has taken care of me because I come from a place of abundance, because I know I will be provided for. So I just know what to do and how to walk and how to move so that the universe responds to me. So the moment you speak something out of your mouth, the universe conspires to assist you. The moment you think something. So you must always be mindful of what you're thinking, of how you're feeling, of what you're eating, of what you're doing, because that is what manifests in your life. And so going back to that pastor who said, oh, you have to work. Just because everybody else worked, I don't understand what that had to do with me. Even mom is like, wow, you could be doing so much more if you went out there and work. And I understand, because like I could be making at least $100,000. I went and got to finish my PhD because I just wanted to have doctor on my name. I enjoy the challenge of life. What I'm saying to you is, I have friends that make $100,000 and more, vice presidents of universities, associate dean, et cetera, yet I have more freedom than they because I have no debt. Because I don't even believe in, I don't even know what debt doesn't exist for me. I owe only Kia and those in which the Creator has put into my sphere of influence. So I have an abundance. Debt is not a reality for me. I'm living in California where people say it's too expensive to live. My work is what I do here is liberating people by giving them information that will set them free. Coaching. People don't pay me. No one pays me money. People pay me in gratitude and by changing their lives. I travel more than anybody. I've been to several different countries. And I travel all over America. Just in the past 3 or 4 months, I've been to several states, back and forth. I eat well. I eat fruits and mostly on a raw fruit and vegetable diet. Drink lots of water. So all I'm saying is be the manifestation. Be mindful about what you put in your subconscious mind or back of your mind, because 90% of human behavior, they say in psychology, is controlled by your subconscious mind. So a lot of times people wonder why their lives is the way it is, and it's because of your programming. Now, for me, myself, I only consent to programming or teaching or thoughts to those things that are in alignment with having a joyful, abundant, positive lifestyle. That's what I consent to. I only consent to movies that will spark my consciousness or touch my chakras or make me happy or joyful or at peace. So again, come from a place of abundance. Be mindful to only digest those things which are healthy, clean, fresh, whole, joyful, happy, abundant. And that is what will present itself to you. Now, because there are people that are manipulating the atmosphere, you may come across things that are not conducive to your lifestyle. Then you may desire to take an extra step to see what it is you can control. You see, you take control of the things that you can control, and you leave everything else to the universe. So I've had people in my lifestyle that say, we can't do this because we were slaves. We can't do this because we was black. And it was Brother Taj, Taj Bay, I think his name is Dynamite Bay on Facebook. He's a good friend of mine, close friend of mine, taught me, say I'm indigenous or I'm aboriginal. Black means pale, bleak, void. It is a status. A nationality is American. Your nationality is Aboriginal or something like that. My people were Cherokee or are Cherokee and Olmecs that lived in Mexico. So I'm very thoughtful about my words. And when I find myself using words that are those words which Mom taught me do not serve me a purpose, then I correct my thinking and I correct my words. So what you think becomes a reality because it comes out in your mouth and it comes out in what you do. So in order to heighten my level of positivity and manifestation and creativity, I just cut out all the things, people, places, foods, belief systems that did not serve me well. And I incorporated those things which did serve me well. So I read books that are positive. I don't even watch television. If I do it, it will be those things that are positive. I listen to positive music. I align myself with positive people. I spend a lot of time in nature because when you spend time in nature, I believe you're close to the Creator. And I know you're close to the Creator, and it opens up your chakras, your mind, your senses, and it just puts you in harmony with abundance, the abundance that exists. So I'll do a part 2. This is getting lengthy. My point was be the manifestation. When you have a lifestyle of meditation, like your whole state of being is meditative. Your whole state of being is harmonious. In fact, one time I asked a gentleman friend that I was attracted to, why do I keep attracting musicians in my life? He said to me, because you're a walking song. You're a beautiful melody. Your whole being exudes a melody that mesmerizes men, that causes animals to walk up to you, that encourages children to walk away from their parents and come up to you and jump in your lap. You are a walking epitome of a melodious harmony that causes people to come to you. The frequency upon which you vibrate, of course, he was a musician, so he was a Pied Piper, of course, just causes the entire universe to bow to you and give you your desires. That's it for now. My encouragement is to be the manifestation. Be what it is you desire. Be happy, be joyful, be loving, be kind, be peaceful, be harmonious, be abundant, and choose to see those things in people. So one thing a pastor taught me in Louisville, Kentucky was choose to see the righteousness in people. Choose to see the righteousness in people's words. Choose to see the righteousness in situations. He would say things like, why would you even think that a person was trying to hurt you when they said that? Even if they were trying to hurt you. Choose to see the positivity. Choose to see that instead of saying they're trying to hurt me, maybe they're coming from a place of hurt and they just desire attention. They desire you to give them some love. Choose to see the positivity in situations. Sometimes, things are just negative. Sometimes people are just negative. Sometimes vibrations are just negative. Then walk away. Cut that out of your life. You do have that power. I'm reminded, and I'll conclude with this, of a sermon my former husband preached. And I put this on my Facebook page like 2 or 3 days ago, where it was about the elephant. There was a young elephant that these people brought from the wild into the circus to train him. They took the young baby elephant and they put a chain around his ankle, his left ankle, I think he said, and nailed it down to the earth. They went a step further and they put a fence around the elephant. While the elephant was in this chains with a fence around it, they would feed the elephant. They would, rub on the elephant. They would nourish the elephant. They would play with the elephant, and they would train the elephant. They would even chastise the elephant and teach it tricks and chastise it if it went off course, to keep it on course. As the time went past, and it didn't take long for this program and conditioning that the elephant must be enchained and enslaved or behind a fence, they took the shackle off the elephant's left leg. They removed the fence. And they continued to feed it. They continued to nourish it. They continued to train it. And that elephant remained right there in the same spot which the trainers had put her months ago, when all the elephant had to do was lift up her leg, walk out that small invisible enclosure, and be free. What my former husband did was, he was a sharp dresser. Pushed back his sleeves, of course showing off his wonderful cufflinks, which always matched his socks and his tie. Pulled back away from the podium, or stepped back from the podium, took out his nicely decorated handkerchief that matched his tie and his cufflinks and his socks, wiped his forehead and said, "Some of you right now have invisible chains on your mind and a fence around your life because of the programming that you have allowed into your body, your mind, and your psyche, when all you have to do is lift up your leg and be free." My sisters, I'm telling you right now that you are a divine being that was created in the image of the Creator, a magnificent being who was wonderfully made, who was meticulously made and created to be here, to lift the vibrations, to nurture, to love, to bring life into this world. You are manifestation. You are peace. You are love. You are harmony. You are abundance. You are wealth. You must know this and put that into your mind, body, nose, mouth, genitalia areas, environment, thought processes. And be that manifestation. And if for any reason there has been any programming that serves an evil agenda instead of your agenda to manifest and to bring forth the life that you truly desire for yourself and your posterity, your friends and family and children, don't consent to it. I do not consent. That does not resonate with me. What does resonate with me is liberty, freedom, life, peace, joy, harmony. And those are the things that I will focus on. And any things that would try to keep me away from that, I am going to lift up my leg and be free. Walk out of that bondage, slavery, or whatever, and be free and live the life that the Creator has destined me to live, because I am abundant. It's a choice. It is a choice. It is a choice. So when you know that you're abundant in love and peace, remember, because these are the things, think on these things: love, all the things that are love, all the things that are kind, all the things that are good, all things that are good report. Think of those things, and those things alone, that becomes you. You become joy. You become all of those things. And then that's in your subconscious and your conscious mind. becomes your reality. It becomes your reality. While you're thinking it and knowing it and imagining it, because it's even a step beyond imagining. You just know it. It's a place of knowing. That's why you must program your mind with positivity, because it becomes a knowing. Then you don't, then instead of worrying about how am I going to manipulate this and do that and that, it just becomes a part of your life, because it is what you are. Okay? Whatever you think about and focus on is what manifests and multiplies. You can start right there with what you think about, what you eat, what you wear, who you're around, what you read, what you write, what you multiply in your life with those multiplication cards, those facts my mom used to do in front of me. That becomes you. And then you manifest it. And then you make it multiply in your life. You got this. You got this. You are the creator. You are a co-creator. And whatever you think about, whatever you desire, the moment you think it or speak it out of your mouth, the universe conspires to assist you. You got this. Be the manifestation. And your whole entire life will change. And so will those who are around you. Peace. I love you all. There will be a part 2. Maybe in a few days. I love you. You got this. Be it. Think it. Feel it. Know it. Resonate it. And it shall be. Because you are what you know you will manifest. All right. I love you all. It's been an hour. Take care, gods and goddesses.